been the man, I done it all, it's a good life. Back and forth all around the world, I lie flat in my red eye. Did everything I said I would, I can't lie. Too nice, I'm looking up, can't see my peak, it's too high. Trying to catch me, goodbye, I'm gone. Next level, what I'm on. Get whatever that I want, I'm too far like pyro. Used to hate it back then, now they acting like they know me. Told them bring the champagne, the whole team getting trophies. Whole team been balling out, I keep it real, never let them down. Teaching everyone how to swim, when a storm comes, nobody drown. I be rolling with winners only, I'm at the top and it's never lonely. Santorini, my second home, Versace robes, I'm getting cozy. All my life I've been wanting more, but you only getting what you work for. Put in my 10,000 hours, I keep on winning, I'm losing score. Used to dream of the better days, they finally came and I live it up. I will never stop working out, cause I can't go back to where I was. I've been the man, I done it all, it's a good life. Back and forth all around the world, I lie flat in my red eye. Did everything I said I would, I can't lie. Too nice, I'm looking up, can't see my peak, it's too high. Trying to catch me, goodbye, I'm gone. Next level, what I'm on. Get whatever that I want, I'm too far like pyro. Used to hate it back then, now they acting like they know me. Told them bring the champagne, the whole team getting trophies. They be saying I'm underrated, I told them all that I'll be the greatest. Only focused on elevating, I'm here to stay even if they hate it. They won't ever get in my way, no back and forth, that's child's play. I compete with myself now, reaching new goals every other day. Looking back on my journey, I took the road less traveled. I broke through every obstacle like I'm Francis Ngannou. I never changed who I started with, cause everybody been a part of it. I'm the captain of the mothership like Titanic, but I'll never sink. I've been the man, I done it all, it's a good life. Back and forth all around the world, I lie flat in my red eye. Did everything I said I would, I can't lie. Too nice, I'm looking up, can't see my peak, it's too high. Trying to catch me, goodbye, I'm gone. Next level, what I'm on. Get whatever that I want, I'm too far like pyro. Used to hate it back then, now they acting like they know me. Told them bring the champagne, the whole team getting trophies. Tell me now when you're gonna call me, call me. Told you that I'm sorry, I'm sorry. What you want from me, from me? Promise we can make it work this time. So when you gonna call me, call me. Told you that I'm sorry, I'm sorry. What you want from me, from me? Promise we can make it work this time. You don't ever wanna talk, you just looking for a good time. I've been on the gram and you've been looking too fine. I've been thinking about you when I be alone. All I'm asking for is you to call my phone. We ain't got time for no other plans, and you ain't gotta worry about my other friends. I know that you don't really like them, but I won't invite them when you come to make amends, yeah. So what you want from me? I just told you that I'm sorry, but you won't call my line. Hit me one time. Tell me now when you're gonna call me, call me. Told you that I'm sorry, I'm sorry. What you want from me, from me? Promise we can make it work this time. So when you gonna call me, call me. Told you that I'm sorry, I'm sorry. What you want from me, from me? Promise we can make it work this time. Yeah, you the only one that I run to when I'm in your town till you come through. I don't wanna cause any trouble, please just hit my line. Yeah, I meant what I said when I met you. Seen the bad times and the best too. Didn't make sense when I left you. I promise I'll live and regret too. I hate to see the good times gone, yeah. And I don't wanna die alone. So baby, just call my phone, tell you that I'm wrong. Tell me now when you're gonna call me, call me. Told you that I'm sorry, I'm sorry. What you want from me, from me? Promise we can make it work this time. So when you gonna call me, call me. Told you that I'm sorry, I'm sorry. What you want from me, from me? Promise we can make it work this time. Look at me now, I did it all, they wondering how. Come to my city and copy my style. They wanna be me, that ain't allowed. I never wanna be part of the crowd. Good on my own, don't need them around. I beat them all, now they wanna test me. I be a legend like Lionel Messi. 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 Messi. I be a legend like Lionel Messi. Look at me now, I did it all, they wondering how. Look at me now, I did it all, they wondering how. I never wanna be part of the crowd. Good on my own, don't need them around. I beat them all, now they wanna test me. I be a legend like Lionel Messi. 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 Look at me now, I did it all, they wondering how. Look at me now, I did it all, they wondering how. I never wanna be part of the crowd. Good on my own, don't need them around. I beat them all, now they wanna test me. I be a legend like Lionel Messi. 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 All my friends are good and my family good too. Out in Hollywood, doing what I should do. Everything I dreamed, I've been getting used to. When my phone ring, all I get is good news. All my boys been working, ain't no day when nobody's certain that this life is gonna end perfect. We been getting wins like Irvin. We all got degrees in my circle. We all got belief in my circle. We all stay together when it go down, and they got my back like Herschel. I got girls that used to turn me down, and they wanna know if we could turn up. Say they saw me on the Spotify and they never thought I'd be blowing up. We been busy just glowing up. Bones with me and he rolling up. They used to doubt but they know it now, when they always asking if we showing up. Cause all my friends are good and my family good too. Out in Hollywood, doing what I should do. Everything I dreamed, I've been getting used to. When my phone ring, all I get is good news. All I get is good news. Everybody good too. All I get is good news. Everybody good too. Tell me who's gonna stop me. Tell me who's gonna top me. Making more money than your whole posse off of my hobby. Swinging like Rocky. Never be flopping. Never be doing nothing that's sloppy. Doing what they all thought would be shocking. Sacrificing my social life so I can play in arenas like hockey. I've been going to class, then I'm flying away. Week in New York, then I go to LA. Meet in the city with people that with me. My circle been smiling, it's never gonna change. Never gonna change. Next time you see me, I'll be in a range. Next time you see me, I'll be getting litty with all of my people from back in the day. Hey. All my friends are good and my family good too. Out in Hollywood, doing what I should do. Everything I dreamed, I've been getting used to. When my phone ring, all I get is good news. All I get is good news. Everybody good too. All I get is good news. Everybody good too. All I get is good news. Everybody good too. All I get is good news. Everybody good too. Grab an umbrella, I make it rain, no matter the weather. Been on a roll, I'm never gonna let up. I still got the scores that I gotta settle. I want the trophy, I don't want no medal. Hop in the Porsche, my foot on the pedal. They think they know me, but I never met them. Back in the game and I'm better than ever. Know that I'm running the shit, everyone know that Bizangi don't miss. I'ma keep dropping again and again and again. I'm giving them hit after hit after hit. I do not care what they think, know I'm the GOAT, I've been getting rich. I don't forget and I don't forgive, just leave me alone. I'm about to go switch up the flow. Used to be sitting economy, now I'll be sitting with no one beside of me. Graduated with a couple degrees, I still do it better than all of these rappers who thinking they poppin'. They coming for me and they gon' need a coffin. We talking about dollars, they changing the topic. I feel like I'm Elon the way that I rock it. I used to be wondering how I could get to the money, now I got a whole lot of options. I'm turning it up like a mosh pit. They giving advice, just stop it, cause they don't know nothing about it. Gotta go vegan with all of this bread. I don't wanna party, I'm chilling instead. They letting the fame go straight to the head. I'm killing my ego, I left it for dead. Out in Miami, I'm living, I'm about to be neighbors with Diddy. I'm ready for battle, now who coming with me?
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome to Friday. I am super stoked for this Friday because this Friday is one more Friday closer to Jeep Beach. Yes, I am seriously stoked. I got one more week, and then your boy is going to be hanging out on the beach with his Jeep, doing Jeep beachy things and probably some golf things. How's it going, everybody? Happy Friday morning to everybody. Welcome to Tea with a Hacker. Although I'm not gonna lie, I do not have tea this morning. There could be some tea in here, I don't know. I was running a bit behind this morning because Carmen had me up until 1 o'clock in the morning. She was doing some work, and so I was being a good husband and staying up with her. Next thing I looked over, and it was 1:30 in the morning, and I had hit well over 1,300 golf balls on the simulator. Probably not the best thing that I probably potentially could have done was to hit 1,300 golf balls yesterday afternoon, but I hit 1,300 golf balls on the simulator. It was a long day. So as much as I probably like this will be a real testament to the fact that Neal doesn't need coffee to still bring the hype. So we'll see how it goes. We don't need the coffee to bring the hype, but with that being said, I did not have enough time to make my typical tea this morning, so you get pre-workout. It still hits the same. It's still pretty good. Oh, those shoulders are incredibly sore. I've got two tournaments this weekend. Back-to-backs. So today's going to have to be a little bit of a recovery day. I could probably do like some pitching. I could probably go do some putting. I keep it kind of chill today. But yeah, the shoulders, the lower back. I went to go see my physical therapist this week, so had my physical therapist visit this week. Managed to get that in a little bit before the vacation, before the tournament. So I'm feeling pretty limber. I'll still use today to keep it kind of chill, maybe run some drills. But I'm super stoked for the double tournaments this week. And if you're interested in following my tournaments this weekend, hop on over to my personal Instagram. Now that we're getting into summer, I'll take some extra time to capture some video, capture some good reels and things like that, and drop some stories. And I always appreciate people who come over to my DMs and support me over my DMs. I really do appreciate that. With that being said, this is our Friday morning AMA stream. Welcome to all of our new streamers. I see we've got an aspiring red team trainee hopping in over on LinkedIn, Theodoros. Good to see you. Good to see everybody. This is our Friday morning AMA stream. If you're new here, welcome. From me to you, thank you so very much for seeing us this morning. Even if you're lurking inside of chat, we don't mind the lurkers. We're all here to have fun. With that being said, in the essence of having good fun, I do want to hit a couple rules really fast. So we are a zero toxicity zone. What does that exactly mean, right? We have zero tolerance for racist, sexist, misogynistic, elitist, and otherwise toxic behavior inside of chat. Zero tolerance policy on that one. We do have moderators in chat who do strive to keep chat free of any racist, sexist, misogynistic, and elitist behavior. Huge shout out to the mods. They are here. Obviously, they still have to work today as well, and so they're either here on their personal time or here on their work time, doing their best to support the community. So huge W's to the mod team for supporting every morning. Mods are not here, however, to stifle chat in any way whatsoever, period, dot, end of discussion. Mods are here, as a matter of fact, to ensure that conversation can go on and chat is free of any racist, sexist, misogynist, elitist, and otherwise toxic behavior, blah, 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 all that type of stuff, right? So absolutely love the mods. If you do have a problem with the mods, if you do have a problem with anything that happens on the stream, do reach out to them via Discord. That is the best place to talk to the mods. Talk to me. Just generally, you should be over in the Discord anyway. This is where we do all of the giveaways. There's a giveaway channel for that. There's a community feedback channel in there. There's tons of career sections. I'm always amazed at the career sections. Most of the questions that you guys ask on stream get asked in some way, shape, or form in the career section over on Discord. There's a career advice channel. I do personally respond to as many of those as I can. So if I don't get your question answered here, you want a nice long form type of format for career advice, you can hop over to the career advice section and hang out over there. With that being said, as this is our Friday morning AMA stream, I do, obviously we have a lot of thematic streams that happen throughout the week. Yesterday we had Fight Night, AI in the SOC. We had CISO versus CISO battle. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one a little bit. Sometimes we don't get all the questions. We don't get to all the personal questions. And so I make myself available mornings like this morning to sit down here with you and talk to you personally and answer a ton of your questions. Finally, after a month of following you, I can see you live. Absolutely. Welcome to the lives. We usually try to stream 2 or 3 times a week, but at a minimum, you could almost always catch us here on Friday. For Tea with a Hacker. Now, with that being said, I will remind you, you do need to head on over to social media. Make sure you are following. Make sure you do have notifications turned on. That way you do know when it is that we are streaming and when we go live. But you can always tune in, catch us there. You can also catch me hanging out in Discord at night. Lots of people hop in there and come hang out with me as well. So lots and lots of places that you can come and hang out and get some free mentoring and free advice. Unfortunately, Maz, no coffee this morning. I got pre-workout going. Let's talk about Fight Night a little bit yesterday. Hopefully you guys liked the format. That was a new format for us. We did spend some time thinking about this. I want to it's a new format for me. Because you know me, I like to talk, especially when we have guests on. And it was really, really hard for me not to interject. It was super hard for me not to interject in a lot of what those guys were saying. I had to hold my tongue quite a bit on that one. And so that's why I love doing Friday morning Tea with the Hacker the day after, because I could talk a little bit about like some of the things that were said yesterday. I was going over it with the team here internally at Query. We may look for some more opportunities to do that. So if you've got some ideas on where you'd like to see a pro and an anti-opinion face off of each other, please drop it into the community feedback channel on Discord, and we will see if we can get 2 of those professionals set up. And we'll see if we can't do a fight night. Fight night at that. Michael says you're good at talking. Thank you. I appreciate that. I've had a lot of practice at it. Now, let's talk about today's stream. We're supposed to have a threat brief today. Jason, if you're watching this, you haven't heard this yet. I haven't sent you a text message yet, but I got a voice. So obviously we're going to Jeep Beach in a couple weeks. And so I decided that, I was going to wait until the absolute last minute to get the windshield on the Jeep replaced. Because if anybody's got a Jeep, if anybody's got a Jeep Wrangler, you know that is like driving a box in a wind tunnel. And so the windshield is basically vertical on a Jeep, right? Basically vertical on a Jeep. And it is a rock magnet. And so I bought the Jeep in 2015. For 10 years, I've had 3 little nicks that have separately been replaced on the Jeep windshield that I've been totally fine with leaving there for the last 10 years, right? Well, now one of them has finally decided to split from the top of the windshield to the bottom of the windshield. And so I finally decided that this Jeep Beach is going to be the Jeep Beach that I get the windshield repaired. And so they were originally supposed to come out between 11 and 12, I think, sometime today. I'm checking my calendar. He gives me a call this morning, and he says, hey, we'll be out between 3 and 5. And I was like, I hate it when people do that. I hate it when people do that. I made an appointment. You gave me an appointment slot. You already took my money, and now you're going to move it on me and make it for a 2-hour block at the end of the day on a Friday. If there's one thing I can't stand, it's Friday meetings. It's Friday meetings. And here we go, right? We're going to get on our first soapbox today, right? And it's going to be about Friday meetings. When I was working at big companies, I would tell my admin, I want my calendar needs to be blocked off, completely cleared, whatever the case is on a Friday afternoon. I want no meetings on a Friday afternoon. Unless it was the CISO, the COO, the CIO, the CFO, or the CEO, I wanted nothing to do with a meeting on a Friday afternoon. And I've done really, really good for myself, trying hard. Like, I don't typically take Friday meetings because I think Friday meetings are the most disrespectful and useless meetings in the entirety of corporate America. Trust me, there's nobody's face that I want to see that bad on a Friday afternoon that I have to have a meeting for them. John over on LinkedIn. Good to see John Rao showed up in the comments. Easy fix, trade that box in for an AMG. No, we contemplated the AMG. I'm not gonna lie. The before we put the Hemi in the Jeep, we looked at an AMG. We looked at a Porsche Turbo S. We looked at a couple, and we decided to stick with the box, man. We loved the box. How's the golfing been? The golfing's been good. Nothing new to report there other than the 2 tournaments this weekend. Super looking forward to that. I was remiss to say, obviously, this is our Friday morning AMA stream. You can see the questions are popping up on the screen as they come in from guests. Please drop your questions in the chat if you've got anything. I'm here literally to talk about anything. We talk about what are we talking about on stream. It can be anything about your cybersecurity career. It could be talking about cars. It could be talking about golf. It could be talking about, I have news. I have news about the other thing. This will come as a shocker for the people who haven't been paying attention to social media. Give you an update on the cancer journey. I got an amazing update. At 9 o'clock, top of the hour. We'll give an update to the cancer journey. And boy, do I got news for you. Today. We had a doctor's appointment this week. We'll keep it in suspense for 12 more minutes. Absolutely. But we'll talk about anything on a Friday morning. We absolutely love it. This is my time with you to sit down and talk to you about literally almost anything and everything that we have going on. Cybertruck plus a Porsche Macan S is my setup. Have you got, Sebastian, has your Cybertruck been vandalized yet? I hope not. I hope not. Like, that's not me advocating for it. That's me saying, like, dear God, please keep that thing safe. Like, I think it's absolutely ridiculous what people are doing out there. I don't care for the Cybertruck. People have asked me because they've known that I'm a Jeep lover for a while. I absolutely love Jeeps. This is my 4th Jeep that I've got right now. And people have asked me if I was going to get a Cybertruck, and I will not be getting any electric vehicle. I will not be getting any electric vehicle at all. And it's mostly just because nothing beats the hell out of a sound of a V8. Like, I am utterly in love with my Jeep. Like, I'm literally more in love with my Jeep than I've been with any other Jeep that I've ever had in my entire career. And now that it's got a V8 in there, I just drive around with the windows down and the music off just to listen to that motor. Hands down, best sound in the whole world. But with that being said, like, I just don't think that, I have a personal belief. Those of you who have EV vehicles, please weigh in chat, right? But I don't believe that the infrastructure exists in a way that supports the way that I want to experience driving. And what do I mean by that? We drive a lot in our family. You know, we're going to drive to Atlanta next week. We're going to drive to Daytona Beach the week after that. We drive to DC frequently. We drive to Virginia. We drive all over the place for golfing events. I'm going to drive 2 hours to the beach tomorrow for a golfing event, come back home, drive another hour to Southern Pines to go to another event on Sunday. And when we try to plan out, right, these trips using like those apps where you get to plan out your chargers, and we look at like how hard it is to plan a trip around an EV charger, and then how long it takes to get a car charged up when you have to stop at an EV charger to get it charged up, I'm like, that's a little much for me. That's a little much for me. Yeah, like I can't do that. I'm glad to see. Again, welcome to Cyber Insecurity, folks who are here. Welcome to AMA, where we literally talk about anything and everything. Raphael over at LinkedIn says, Cybertruck is a nice truck. EV is so undermined that torque speed is something when you take off. I don't disagree with that. I've seen those torque numbers, and I absolutely, like, I don't discourage that. Like, I don't think that that's a bad conversation to have. EV is very fast. 10 of 10. Don't disagree, 100%. For me, it's the infrastructure to support. Like, when I go get gas, I want to stop, fill up the tank, get in the car, and go. I don't want to have to plan what I'm going to do for 30 plus some odd minutes or something like that just to wait for a battery to charge. And then if Jason was here, we could talk about his Tesla. Matt Eberhard showing up in LinkedIn chat too. Defender Octa. He's catching up on the truck conversation. Matt's got a nice Defender. He does. But yeah, I mean, there's again, just not there for me just yet. Dragonov comes in on Twitch, says, Neal, it's a very touch subject. That's okay. We don't mind touch subjects. I apologize for that one being a little small on screen. We'll do our best to have a great, so again, first and foremost, we do not mind touchy subjects, right? There's no politics in chat, and we keep all discourse civil, right? We do not discuss politics. We keep all discourse civil. Those are really just the only two major rules when it comes to talking about anything in cyber. So we'll see what you got here. I've not seen this question. Mods didn't delete it because our mods aren't here to stifle. Again, our mods aren't here to stifle opinions. They're here to make everybody's voices heard. Neal, this is a very touched subject, and maybe you don't want to touch it. What's your opinion on offshoring? I had a great union tech job in the 90s and was making all kinds of money with overtime. Then my job was moved overseas. Having worked my way back, I now once again having my role moved overseas. Companies want to pay low and make lots of profits. I'm considering getting out of tech and doing a local onshore trade. I just don't want to be offshored anymore. I feel this. It's not a touchy subject. right? If it's not a touchy subject if we look at it in the right lens, right? Hiring inexpensive labor is not a new business concept. If anybody here in chat is a hiring manager, congratulations, you have hired inexpensive labor, right? And I'm pretty sure I could say that with a good amount of confidence because I'm sure that most people have either hired somebody or taken a job less than they thought was needed or deserved. Right? It is hard to fathom that happens. But you probably, as a hiring manager, have had two candidates. One wanted $50,000 and one wanted $95,000. They both had equal skill set. They both brought equal value to the team, and you chose to hire the $50,000 one because they were cheaper than the $95,000 one. Right? So there's a ton. You've probably been a victim or an accuser of hiring cheaper talent. So let's start there first and foremost. Let's be open about that conversation. With that being said, again, my principal statement to everybody is that a company has no obligations. They have no business obligations to do right by you. The company doesn't owe you anything. That doesn't mean that companies don't do right by their people. I absolutely love Matt because Matt, in addition to running Query excellently, strives his best to put people in focus in almost every decision he makes. It's absolutely in his blood to do that. But I say that, and in the same vein, the business doesn't owe it to you to do that. The business doesn't owe it to you to do that. The business has a fiduciary responsibility to the shareholders. Period, dot, end of discussion. The business has a fiduciary responsibility to its shareholders. And so I can empathize with the frustration of seeing jobs go to cheaper than normal market rates in the current locale in this day and age. So with that being said, what's my opinion on offshoring? Don't fight the business. Don't fight the business. If the business wants to take on the risk, right? Because let's face it, there is risk with lower paid talent. There will always be risk with lower paid talent, right? There will be risk of potentially lack of training, potentially lack of qualifications, potentially a lack of work ethic, right? I think it's safe to say everybody's also experienced this in their career where, it is not uncommon for the level of compensation that you receive to drive your potential work ethic. I don't think that that's an unfair statement at all. I'm not saying it happened. I'm not saying it's a rule, but it's definitely not unfair to say that. And so I think the business is making a risk decision and they're making a fiduciary decision based on things that are important to them as a business. And so you can't fight it, right? You can't fight that game. I want to talk about the feeling that we have in our industry of jobs being offshored. And I want you to understand something. I've been in IT and cyber since the 90s, right? And I can remember some of the early days and conversations of offshoring talent in the 90s, in the 2000s, in the 2010s when I got out of the Air Force, right? And then, for the last 10 years since, there's never been a year, there's never been a decade that has gone by where we haven't talked about offshoring talent, right? And so I do think that there's a little bit of a cognitive bias, if you will, where we do all think that our jobs are going to get offshored, when in reality, that's not the case. And I'll give you an example. There are certain regulated industries, financial being one of them, where they actually are only a North American operating financial industry. And we're talking like a Fortune 100 financial industry, that by regulation, they cannot have non-US citizens work on their systems. And so they legitimately, as a Fortune 100 financial institution, can't offshore. There are DOE, Department of Energy. There are, come on, brain fart this morning. Critical infrastructure type of jobs that they can't offshore. And so I would say we have to be very, very careful with a perception that all cybersecurity jobs are getting offshored, because I don't believe that. I definitely don't believe that that is the case, while it may feel like that. And a follow-on, I presume this is in that same vein over on YouTube. Indrid over on YouTube said, did I make a wrong move to this new job? I don't know. It's hard to know, right? I don't think it's ever wrong to pursue your passion, right? I don't think it's ever wrong to pursue your passion. I'm pursuing a passion to become a PGA golf player. Is it wrong of me to pursue a passion that is less than 1% likely to succeed? Absolutely not, right? If you don't, this is going to sound rough. And again, I say this in my best dad voice, in my best mentorship voice on this one, right? If you don't want to be replaced, period, dot. If you don't want to be replaced, whether it's onshore or offshore, then make yourself valuable to the business. That's it. It is as simple as that. I wholeheartedly believe that. If you don't want to be replaced, make yourself valuable to the team. I think I have an opinion, and I appreciate this statement from Robbie in Twitch. My problem with offshore teams is often they are not honest about the skill level of all the people on their team. That is your perception. While I appreciate that, if you are currently working a job and you are fearful that your job is going to be replaced, and this could be replaced by AI, this could be replaced by another, of your local, talent pool, this could be, replaced by an offshore team. If you're worried about any of that, then make yourself valuable to your team, to your boss, and to your company today. Because if you do that, I would almost guarantee that your likelihood of getting replaced on any level is zero. Matt makes a great point over on LinkedIn. Offshore, onshore topic. Hiring the right talent and creating the right team environment is key. I've been part of some amazing teams that include team members from all over the world. If you want to expand your team to another part of the world, you have to adapt to make that work. If you want to outsource a task to another part of the world, that's a different model that takes a completely different approach. So again, I don't think that we should not have such a visceral response to this term of offshoring talent. What's happening is you're getting replaced. That could be the same as you getting replaced by somebody in your locale, getting replaced by a contractor, getting replaced by a service provider, getting replaced by AI, getting replaced by anything else. There are business decisions that can be made, but you have to make yourself valuable to the business to do so. Right? Absolutely. Thank you, Neal. I appreciate your honest, intelligent input. Absolutely. That's what we're here for. Please feel free to ask any follow-on questions or whatnot about the topic. I don't think that I think people get weird when it comes to offshoring because they feel like we're talking down on people who are offshoring when in reality we're not. That's not the goal, or at least that's the way that I'd like to perceive the conversation, is that it's not a degradation to say that offshore talent is a bad move. I've worked with numerous offshore teams that have been absolutely fantastic. Right? We have a team in India at Query, and they're fucking badasses. Like, the things that those guys have done have been absolutely phenomenal. Right? They're awesome. There are lots of skilled labor out there, regardless of where it's at. And just because they're in a different location to you does not change the value prop that they bring to the team. Lots of good questions. Lots of good questions. These are coming in crazy this morning. I did promise you some big news at the top of the hour. We're at the top of the hour. Keep getting the questions in. The mods will continue to add them to the queue. I'm looking at the queue up here as the mods are adding questions and comments to the queue up here. I did want to take a moment. Just in case you weren't following Twitter this week. We did have an oncologist appointment on Wednesday. So I kept a secret from you, fam. So on Monday, I had my PET scan. If you remember, since September, we've been fighting insurance to get the dreaded scan, right? It's been like the Noah's Ark in my cancer journey to get this last scan so that we can see if treatment's been effective. This will be my one and only time that I'll say it, because I'm very, very grateful that insurance has covered, the majority of my cancer costs over the last 2.5 years. But fuck insurance. Like, insurance is pretty ridiculous. I'm grateful to have it. But with that being said, we've had some struggles in getting a scan. The scan was needed because we ended our treatment. We had our last treatment in September. And the doctor needed the scan so that they could determine if the tumor was alive or dead, right? They can look at it they can look on a CT scan and it looks like an ambiguous blob in my body, but they needed a special type of scan to determine it was alive. And as you remember, we've come on stream, we've talked about it. This is going to be the one, this is going to be the one, and then insurance denies it. This is going to be the one, then insurance denies it. And it's just been this emotional roller coaster, as you can imagine, with this scan. So I kept a secret from you, fam, and I didn't tell you about this one. So I apologize. I know we've got a rule in our relationship to always be open and honest, but this one I kept from you because I didn't want to bring you on the roller coaster ride with you. So on Monday, I had my scan. And for once in 2.5 years, the imagery technician did not update the scan details at all for 2 days. And so for all of Monday and all of Tuesday, I couldn't pre-read my scan results until Wednesday when I had a doctor's appointment. So I had a doctor's appointment on Wednesday, fam. And doctor comes in, tries to do some small talk, kind of similar to what I'm doing to you now. Starts to disarm me. I'm like, Doc, don't do it to me, man. Just tell me what you saw. Just tell me, how we looking? He says, with a big giant smile, I don't currently see any signs of cancer in your body. Even now, like my head's even woozy, even fucking talking about it. I was on a different level when that happened. Still on a different level. It's been an emotional ride for 2.5 years, to say the least. I think we can all say that it's been 2.5 years. Thank you, everybody, thank you, chat. I love to see a chat blow up like that. Thank you. 2.5 years, team. 2.5 years we've been at this game. Yeah. That one's behind me. For now. Yeah. I don't know what else to say to that other than, honestly, like, thank you all for your support over the last 2.5 years. I know I've said that before on stream. You know, you guys have been like a family to me. As I've gone through this, it's been pretty it's been pretty wild ride, to say the least. And you guys have been real key to my success in that. I appreciate you. Just from my heart, I appreciate all you. Thanks for everything you do. For now, fam, we have beat cancer. We have a 5-year road to watch for its return, but we have won the day. We have won the day. I appreciate all this in chat. Thank you so much. I love this comment. You just removed the worst malware known to man. Yeah. Just to think that 2.5 years ago, I'd been told that I needed to get my affairs in order, and most people don't make it past 2 years of their life. We've made it. So, happy Friday on that note. That's a good one. Feel free to bill United Healthcare for everything Chad has done to support me over the last 2.5 years. You guys are awesome. All right. Keep the questions coming in. I appreciate them. We'll get back to them. That's the news for the Friday. Thank you so very much, as always, for your support. I was excited to share that with you. I shared it with, obviously, my closest friends first on Wednesday, family and whatnot. I shared it with Matt and the executive team at Query, because they've been around for, they've been hugely instrumental in my support at Query. I can't even begin to tell you how awesome the executive team at Query's been in supporting me with this. I'm going to stop talking now before I start crying again, because, fuck. It's been happening a lot lately. Great question from the King Studio. How do you handle the security risk associated with your offshore counterpart? So back to the offshore conversation, and while we were talking offshore, there was a great quote from Matt that showed up in LinkedIn. He talked about fear of being obsolete. Excuse me. This is the phenomenon that refers to the anxiety that one's skills, job, or role may become irrelevant due to advancements in AI and other technologies. It's gained prominence as AI continues to transform industries and workplaces. I do think that's a little bit of the mentality that comes into this offshore conversation. How do you handle security risk associated with your offshore counterpart? The same way that you would handle risk with any other part of your organization, right? If you believe that you have human risk in your organization, you should risk classify it and execute on that risk appropriately. Right? I would not go into a company as CISO seeing that they had offshore talent and immediately go, that's a risk. I didn't do it at Query. I didn't do it at any organization I've ever looked at before. The sheer fact that talent is offshored does not make it a risk. And so I think first and foremost, it's acknowledging that that's the true statement, right? Talent not being where you think your locale is does not inherently make it risk. Right? If you're worried about people risk, then do your risk assessment and do your risk mitigation techniques the same way you would for any other human asset that you have at your disposal. Period. Dot. Right? If you're worried about intellectual property theft, worry about it from an insider threat. This is honestly where the term insider threat comes from, and it's insider threat teams, right? Have you done a crown jewels assessment? Do you know where your most sensitive data is in your company? Cool. If you do, have you gone through the exercise of protecting your crown jewels? Right? Do you have monitoring on your crown jewels? Do you have an inventory of your crown jewels? Do you have the appropriate impact assessments for your crown jewels, right? You see, all of this is the same thing that you would do for any other asset in your organization. And it doesn't matter whether you have offshore talent or not, you're still protecting the risk of the business. So I think this is part of the mind shift change that you need to get yourself into. Your risk management isn't about offshore. You're not managing offshore risk. Let's say that explicitly. You're not managing offshore risk. You're managing the risk of the enterprise. And if you're worried about human risk, you're worried about insider threat. And so what are you doing to manage the risk of insider threat? That's it. Period. Dot. End of discussion. I do believe it is that simple. Right? Don't get so caught up on the offshore part of it. I think that's where some of you get hung up in this conversation, is that you think you have to treat it differently, when in reality, it's just another classification of insider threat. Pivoting a little bit on the conversation, great question that came in. What do you do to stop burnouts? Do you have any hobbies, games, or something? I've seen people that get fast burnout in cyber. Cyber is a crazy, make no mistake about it, it is amazingly easy to get burnout in cyber. There's tons of burnout in cyber. I mean, this career field is hard. No shit. Right? This career field is hard. Let's put it this way. We are getting attacked every day on the enterprise front line. And in getting attacked every day on the front line for the enterprise, you are dealing with new threats, new vulnerabilities, new ways of attacking organizations, a disastrously confusing field of technology that are all claiming to solve all of your problems because marketing budgets suck and everybody claims that they can solve every cybersecurity problem that ever existed known to man. There's always something to learn. Carmen and I were having a conversation last night. I love stories, so I can't just tell you the conversation. I have to tell you the story, right? We had to go out to PGA Superstore to pick up a couple of clubs and have a couple of clubs re-gripped. The downside of hitting 1,300 golf shots in a day is my grips get worn out really, really quickly on my golf club. So we had to go to PGA Superstore, get a couple clubs re-gripped. Oh, I broke a shaft. We can talk about that one here in a little bit. We broke a shaft on a golf club. I'm rubbing my eyes because I'm like, that was a disaster. But anyway, so we're sitting in the Jeep. The rain's coming down because it just started raining last night. And I was having a conversation. I was dissecting with her the AI conversation that we had in the SOC today or yesterday with Q and with Rudy. And I was giving her, because she'd asked how the stream went, and I told her like some of the things that had come about with that Q and that Rudy and the Q conversation yesterday. And it was around MCPs, and it was around agent-to-agent framework that Google had just released. And I could talk a little bit about this because I think I saw somebody talk about pipelines hanging out over in YouTube. And I looked at her and I said, you know, we got this next 2 weeks coming up where we're not going to be at home. We're going to be pseudo vacationing. Next week's not really a vacation, but when you're traveling away from home, you don't feel the same pressures of, you know, specific work that you do at home. You don't have the creature comforts at home. And so, you know, I was like, I'm probably going to do a crazy binge study session over the next 2 weeks and really build out a lot of AI projects, agentic AI projects, some MCP projects, and maybe even a little agent-to-agent stuff. I was going to play around with Firebase Studio because I had done a couple test runs with that, and I really, really liked it. And so I told her, I said, probably the next 2 weeks. Mind you, part of that is a week at Jeep Beach for vacation. I said, I want to spend some extra time studying and getting sharp on a lot of this agentic AI stuff in my own home lab. And she looked at me and she said, yeah, that sounds like a really good idea. I wouldn't mind piggybacking with you on that. And the Jeep got really quiet for a second as the rain was pitter-pattering on the roof of the Jeep. And then she laughed and she said, how pathetic are we that we're going on vacation and all we can think about is the extra free time we'll have to learn more stuff for our day jobs. But it's true. It's true, right? There's so much to learn in our industry that we need a vacation in some cases to free up some time so that we could become experts in the latest and greatest thing that's going to impact our job. Oh, that's what I said to her. What I had said to her was, I do think that MCPs and agent-to-agent frameworks are probably going to be mainstream. And I think if you're a cyber leader and you're not embracing AI, you're probably behind. And we both nodded our heads. We were like, yeah, that's probably pretty true. And then that led to, well, I think I'm going to take the next 2 weeks and study hard and try to make myself as smart as I can on these types of topics. And that's where that came from. But I do think it's easy, and I say all that to just point out how easy it is to get burnout in our industry just from the learning aspect of what it is to learn on a day-to-day basis in our career field, right? Right? So I say all that to say you do need to have an outlet for burnout because it is real, right? Golf has been an amazing outlet for me for burnout. That wasn't always the case. When I started early in my career, I did not handle burnout very, very well. And as a result of not being able to handle burnout very, very well, I had a lot of other health issues leading up to getting cancer in 22. That I can now retrospectively look back on and say that those were direct correlation to the amount of stress that I put myself under to be the most awesomest of awesome in my respective career aspect. And so I do think you need some form of an outlet. Hands down. I do agree with that. Right? You do need some form of an outlet. And for me, it's definitely been golf. Like, I can tell you that, like, I can go out to a golf course and I can walk a golf course. I can walk 18 holes for 4 hours and I won't think a bit about work. I won't think a bit about work, right? And I do that intentionally so that I can release my mind from a lot of that stress that it's under, right? I do think you need to find yours because this industry will take it from you. This industry will take your sanity. They will take your free time. They will take your calmness. This industry will take it. And so I can't emphasize enough, for your own mental sanity, find an outlet. Let's be so I'm going to say this, but at the same time, please head over to Discord. We have two very important, we believe very heavily in mental health on this channel. Right? We also very much believe in mental health on this channel. We have two channels to support your mental health over on Cyber Insecurity Discord. We have a You Are Not Alone, and we have an Imposter Syndrome channel over there. But I say all that to say, it's not taboo to get a therapist. I have two. Right? I have a sports psychologist that helps me unpack my trauma that's limiting my mental ability to play good golf. Absolutely. This 1 bajillionty% this. Everyone has some trauma. Period. Dot. Everybody should be seeing a therapist. I firmly believe that. That's not a jab. That's not me saying you guys are crazy. That's not me saying that, you guys are psycho. It's none of that stuff. Therapy is good. Therapy is very, very good. Like if you wanted Neal's life advice, which I'm sure none of you asked for at all, but if anything, the last 2.5 years have taught me is that you can't do it alone. Let's just be explicitly clear about that. You can't do it alone. I couldn't get through this cancer journey by myself. I firmly believe in my heart I wouldn't be with you today if it wasn't for the people around me. Right? And so if you want help with burnout, sure, get an outlet, find you a sport, but go find you a therapist. There's no shame in it. There's zero shame in that. I don't know if this is the right forum, but I'll ask anyway. Mods, let me know. Always appreciate you asking. Don't worry about it. I'm studying IT and security in Sweden. Is it okay if I ask here if anybody knows of a company offering a remote internship, if it's abroad or hybrid or at the office internship in Sweden? I just need contacts to a good IT security firm. Then we could talk from there to see if it's a good match. I apologize if this is not the right forum. Don't worry about whether this is the right forum or not. This is a helpful community that strives to bring everybody along on their cybersecurity journey wherever they are, from beginner to CISO, right? What I'll say to this, right, is you're already in the right forum because you are around cybersecurity people. But let's change this slightly. And I want to say this so that it impacts everybody. Let's make sure we understand that, right? When I respond to comments and questions in chat, I'm not targeting anybody. I'm not targeting an individual. I'm taking this scenario and I want to apply it to everybody so that you can understand, so that everybody can understand how to approach this challenge the right way. Right? This is a challenge of networking. What you're witnessing right now in this statement is a challenge of networking. What you're asking for by asking this question is, hey, look at me, come help me. I'll give you a stark analogy to that. It may only be applicable to my folks here in the States. We'll see. A lot of cities have a lot of homeless problems here in the States, right? I'm not saying you're homeless. That's not the implication here, but follow me with the analogy, right? You don't have to answer in chat. I mean, anybody who hears this, you don't have to answer in chat, but you can answer in your head. You can answer in your hearts. How many of you have driven past a homeless person that's got a sign up and you've had that thought? You're like, man, I feel really, really bad for this person, but I don't know them. I don't know how they're going to use what I give them. I don't even know if they're going to use what I give them in a way that I would do it, in a way that was well-intentioned, in a way that would be respectful of what I would give them. I can almost guarantee you that at some point in time, if you've been in that scenario, you've looked at a homeless person, you've questioned whether your ability to provide for them would get used in a method that you would agree with. And that's very much what I see with cybersecurity folks or people coming into this industry, where they're like, hey, I'm new, come help me out over here. And in the same vein that we talk about burnout, where everybody around you is going a bajillion miles an hour trying to defend the enterprise, trying to learn as much as they can, trying to, be an active, and not only an active member of the cybersecurity, world, but also in an upward mobility fashion. It's hard to look across the community, see people waving their hands, and be able to give them something that they can use. What I just described for you is exactly why I started Cyber Insecurity. Was because I got tired of trying to do this on a one-off. I got tired, right? I got tired of, helping people one by one, wondering if my help was getting, was reaching the right audience. And so I started Cyber Insecurity to help more people so that I could put information out there for everybody to have. And so the information that I would provide for you specifically, now I'm talking to you, right, is I need you to take this ask, I need you to take this, and I need you to action on it. If you want to find people in Sweden who are looking for internships or remote trainingships, you need to do the work. You should not expect, and let's set the expectations. You should not expect that a message like this, whether I say it to thousands of people on Twitch, whether you post it in a Discord, whether you go on LinkedIn and say it to all your followers, you should not expect a response to this statement. You should go out and you should do networking and you should make contacts and you should talk to businesses. And you should make friends in those businesses. And you should look to see if you can solve problems in that business. And you can do it with 0 years of experience. You can do it with 0 years of experience. Don't make the mistake of assuming you have to be a tenured and senior professional to be of value to a business. There are people in this chat. You're not the only one from Sweden. I know you know Fixit, right? Fixit has gone out and found the Hack the Box community and multiple other communities to get herself embedded in the local community to network. if this industry will not look out for you, just like companies won't. Like, listen, I love this community. This is some of the tightest knit people that I know about. But your expectation about being in this community, fantastic point, Brizzle. Will any industry look out for you? No. Do not make the mistake of thinking that any company or any industry will look out for you. It is a dog-eat-dog world out there. And so if you want something, you should go out and get it. If you want to make contacts, go out and make contacts. Don't stand in the middle of the room and say, hey, look at me. Don't do that. You look desperate. Right? You look desperate and you look like you don't have a plan and you look like you don't know what you want. When I talk to folks in my coaching sessions with people, I want them to embrace their self-confidence. Right? When I think about you, the community, executing on the 1,000 Connect Challenge, I have this vision of a bunch of hungry cybersecurity professionals that are out there going, hey, I'm this person. This is what I bring to the table. This is how awesome I am. And this is why you should work for me. Like, I want every single one of you out there being like, I'm a badass. I'm a badass. And this is why you want me. That's how I envision all of you. Every single one of you. That's how I envision all of you. Is that you're out there taking this energy that I'm giving you every week and approaching the world like you are the most badass MFers out there. Change this mindset. Change this mindset right here. Change this mindset, and you'll change your entire trajectory. Right? Hey, let me remind everybody, please only ask your question once in chat. Please only ask your question once in chat. I promise you the moderators see it. The moderators do add it to a queue, and the moderators will push it up on stream. But only ask your question once. But I do firmly believe every single person who hears my voice is a badass. It hasn't been asked this stream. Don't know yet. Here's what I'll promise you. I'm waiting for the weather to get a little bit more consistent in the morning. Because when it gets to be about 70-ish or so in the morning and the sun comes up a little bit, and some of you are going to hate this, and I apologize for that. I can guarantee you that I'll be out at the golf course at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning for 9 holes, and I'm currently working on a contraption that I can attach to my push cart so I can stream on my push cart while I do morning golf. But to do that, you're going to have to come over to my socials, because I don't know that I'll do it on Twitch. I'll probably do it on my Instagram page to do that. So just make sure you're following me on Instagram. Winter Jolt had a question on YouTube. Question, what are some things to consider when starting a small business in cybersecurity / pen testing, like pricing and contracts and legal stuff? No, fantastic question. I love to see This is another interesting transformation. I love it. Free spirit dev. I was actually born a badass, so not hard for this lady here. That's what I'm talking about. This, I'm going to come back to your question, Winter Jolt. I'm going to come back to your question. But this right here, I want to push this way. If you wanted something to do on Friday, you walk away from this stream, I want every single one of you with this mentality. Right? There's your homework assignment. Anybody who asks you how you're doing today, tell them you're awesome. Right? All of you were born badasses. Go out there and act like it. We've had some interesting conversations on this stream about businesses, and I want to take a minute and I want to share with you another conversation that I had with another who did I have this with? I actually think I had this with Oh no, I didn't. I had this with a friend of mine from Synac. You can tell him you're a badass if you want to. Right? I firmly believe, if you're still listening in chat, I'd love your opinion on this one as well, if you're still listening in chat. I firmly believe that we are entering a period where side hustles and overemployment are becoming the norm in corporate America, and even more so in cyber. And me and this other individual I was talking to do firmly believe that we're probably only a couple of years away from an expectation that if you hire a cybersecurity professional, they are either working another job at another company or they have their own business that they're doing work on the side. I do firmly believe that we're entering an era where that is a true statement. And so I say all that because we talked about forming LLCs the last stream, right? We talked about LLCs the last stream. I think this is the right conversation to be having with yourself, right? When you think about things to consider, there are two things that I would pay for immediately. Make sure you have a lawyer and an accountant. Because if there are two things that are going to fuck you up in business the most, it's some type of legal matter, contracting, employee agreements, contractor agreements, something like that. Statements of work, MSAs, right? There's going to be something that you're going to need a lawyer for. And the last thing you want to be messing with is money. Because everybody wants their cut of your money. And you don't want to be dealing with the loopholes and the problems and the issues that come with it. And so if you're thinking about starting a business, if you're in the throes of starting a business, the two things that I would lock down are a lawyer and an accountant. So that's my piece of advice number one is a lawyer and accountant. Let's talk about the pricing conversation because pricing is weird. Right? Pricing is weird. We're going to do a little bit of business. Everybody put your business hats on for a second. We're going to talk a little businessy type of stuff. There's Talal over on LinkedIn, CISO over there says fully agree with you. Hopefully that's about my second job. If there's any other CISOs on LinkedIn that want to opine upon that, please feel free to opine upon that too. Right? There are only so let's think about this for a second. If you work a full-time job, 9 to 5, that's 40 hours a week. Right? That's 40 hours a week. Let's just assume that that's all you work. No overtime, nothing else like that, blah, 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 blah. Let's just assume 40 hours a week, 9 to 5. That's only 160 hours a month. Right? That's only 160 hours a month. So that right there represents your billable hours. That's how many hours you can charge a client and get paid for it. You don't get paid to do your own sales. You don't get paid to do your own marketing. You don't get paid to do your own cold reach out. You don't get paid to build your infrastructure. You don't get paid to research your TTPs. You don't get paid to do any of that. You only have 160 billable hours in a month. So now, if you're working a full-time job, I'm going to need a calculator for this because I'm really, really horrible with math. Where's my calculator app? Here we go. So if you're currently working a full-time job, and let's just say for the sake of easy math, that after taxes, what you tell the government you make after taxes is about $50,000 a year. Actually, we'll make it easier. We'll make it $60,000 a year because I know that math is easy. After taxes, your bring home is $60,000 a year. So if we divide that by 12, that's $5,000 a month. Now, if we take that $5,000 a month and divide that by 160 hours of billable client work, right? Did I do that right? $5,000 a month divided by 160 hours. Yeah, there we go. That's $31 an hour. $31 an hour to make $5,000 a month, but that's all post-tax, right? So now you got to add in taxes on top of that because you're paying your own taxes. This is why I say accountant. Then you know that that's not the only thing that you got to get paid for, right? Because if you're going to start your own business, you got to do sales, you got to do marketing, you got to do cold outreach, you got to do research, you got to do TTP development. And so you want to add more on top of that because you need to get paid for that time as well. And maybe that time cuts into your billable hour stuff. And so now you're saying like, okay, it needs to be $135 an hour or maybe $235 an hour. But then you get greedy and you're like, well, maybe it's $300 an hour or $400 an hour or $500 an hour, right? You see how now like it becomes really, really hard to handle that pricing, right? Because now that's post-tax, pre-tax. Now you also don't have insurance. So now you've got to add more money on top of that to cover insurance. What about retirement? If you're participating in a 401k plan with your company now, do you got to add more on top of that so that you can have a 401k plan with your financial advisor? Back to our accountant conversation. So pricing is one of the hardest things for you to figure out in starting your small business because most of you don't consider all the things that you currently get with your company that are relatively transparent to you. And then you still have to get back to, you have 160 billable hours in a month. How are you filling up that 160 billable hours in a month with clients to make sure that you have repeatable business that you can do month after month after month after month? I was talking with John Strand and Dave Shackelford, two really good SANS instructor friends of mine years ago. And two very different business models in how they ran their company. Obviously, we all know John from Black Hills Information Security. I remember John when he had like 3 employees, right? And he was doing most of his work out of the basement of his house, right? Dave, on the opposite end of the spectrum, is 100% solo. He does all of his own stuff, right? And it was fascinating to hear from Dave, who was like, I couldn't stand having employees work for me. And at first you're kind of like, fuck you, dude. Like being a business owner and having employees is like so awesome. And he's like, no, let me explain it to you. He said, when I run my company, I only have to worry about paying myself. I only have to care about my own income, which means if I want to take a month off and I can afford to do it, screw it. I'm going to take a month off. Like, I'm going to go travel Bali for a month. He was like, he looked at John, and again, there's no disrespect between the two of them. They very much respect each other. He said, I look at John, and John now has the stress of also having to be responsible for other people. Because now if John doesn't go out and do all his own selling, how's John going to get business to pay his employees? And so there's a whole lot that goes into this small business consideration. I would start with the simple parts. And this is why I think that most people will have their own business or a second job in this career environment, right? It's super easy to start a job, and it's super easy to start a company. I encourage everybody to do it, but at the same time, start slow. Start slow. Right? Take it easy, 1 or 2 contracts a time. Learn the ropes of the business. Don't jump into it head start. So that'd be my second piece of advice there when considering starting a small business. Don't cut ties with your corporate world and jump in head first. Make a plan. Run it on the side for a while. Take it easy. All right, got time for a couple more. And then unfortunately, I got a meeting in 9 minutes. I got to go do an interview with another CISO. What do you think? What do you think of how AI will influence the hacking environment in a few years? I did an entire AI stream yesterday. You should go watch yesterday's AI stream. I don't think it'll have any more an impact on the hacking community than I think it'll have on defensive cyber operations. Go watch there. How did you start it? How did you start? And what was the first real vulnerability you found? I got started by simply being curious. Honestly, I think that's how most people got started. And the first real vulnerability I found was in 2017, I think it was. No, I was still in Ann Arbor when it happened. 2016. 15, 16, somewhere around in there. No, God, it had to be sooner than that. Because I moved to Chicago in 15. It was 2014. God, I'm getting old, forgetting my dates and times. I had found username leakage out of a company's web app. That was my first real experience with responsible disclosure, and it was a disaster. Let's see what else we got here. Look for a couple other questions though. I enjoyed Ann Arbor. I thought it was really beautiful. Great point from Fixit. Make sure you got a contract that your employer is okay with you possibly competing with them. Most employers are not okay with you competing with them. I'd worry less about this and worry about a conflict of interest clause in your contract. Most of them will hide behind the fact that you have a second business as a conflict of interest to your primary roles and responsibilities, which is horse shit. Hence the legal, always have you a good lawyer on hand. Matt responded over on LinkedIn about my thought about trending with either overemployment or folks having having multiple jobs. Matt says, agree, the trend has been building for years. Some employers will push back and try to limit or restrict right to consult. Like anything, this needs to be approached purposefully. If a side hustle is important to you, bring it up in the hiring process. I think transparency is key. Know that not all companies or hiring managers are going to be receptive or willing to a right to consult in your contract or offer letter. Fantastic CEO advice from Matt Eberhardt there. I do agree with his bringing it up in the hiring process. I recently coached Frazier. I'm gonna call you out on this one. Hope you don't mind. I'm going to do this one first and ask for forgiveness later. But obviously, Chris is in my coaching program. I'm helping him through some interview processes with a particular company right now. And I told Chris, I was like, did you tell this individual, did you tell the hiring people that you also run your own business? He said, yes, I did. That's always my advice for folks who do this, is to bring it up in the hiring process. That way they are aware that you do consult, you do run your own business, you do have your own, your own responsibilities that you do take care of. You can also, in that same vein, assure them that it will not affect your full-time work performance, and you are willing to work with them should they have documented evidence of poor performance as a result of your inability to commit to the full-time job. I think all of those show a massive level of responsibility on your part, getting ahead of that process, right? And so I absolutely agree with Matt on this one. And again, back to our statement that we said at the beginning of the stream, the company doesn't owe you anything, right? The company doesn't owe you anything. As a matter of fact, and I know Matt would never say this, I say that, and I say I know Matt would be hard pressed to say this. I don't want to say never. There's no such thing as never in business, right? So I'm not saying that this is a possibility, but in all fairness, query pays the bills. And so if Matt or the board of directors came and said, Neal, your stream content is detrimental to the business, we need you to stop. I either need to make a decision to stop or leave. It's not the company's responsibility to allow me to continue to stream. It's not the board's responsibility to allow me to continue to stream. It is a privilege that I am afforded by the company. That's what you need to look at any type of side hustle that you do, is that it is a privilege afforded upon you by the company. And they have no responsibility to allow you to continue to do it. All right. With that being said, I got to run to a meeting in 4 minutes, which is just long enough for me to turn off streamer voice and get into CISO Neal. You all have been amazing today. I absolutely love our Friday morning streams. Hopefully I'll see you this afternoon when we talk about the threat brief. Make sure you tune in 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as we do that one. Unless, of course, SafeLight decides to come in at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then, well, you know what. Hey, go Masters. For my golf fans out there, who would have thought that Rory was 4 under par and then shot 2 double bogeys on 2 holes in the back 9? I wanted to slap myself in the face when I saw that score. I was so pissed. With that being said, go Rory. You can get that, you can get that Masters win. You can come back. You've done it amazingly. Y'all, whether you're on the red side or the blue side or still deciding, keep learning. Stay awesome. And we'll see you next time.
Over money, that's news to me. People hidden by the ego, that's a tragedy. Yeah, seen a lot and I made a lot, and now everyone in my lane. Yeah, put in work and I'm getting mine, and now every time it go bang. Coming for the top, got the game in the lock. Every time that I drop, no, but gotta go bang. I'ma keep it hot, know that I can